Not all wolves choose to leave the pack, but those who do change their destiny forever. In the heart of a vast, snow-dusted forest, where the pines whispered ancient secrets to the wind, lived a young wolf named Kale. He was born into the strongest pack in the valley, a lineage of mighty hunters and fierce protectors. His paws were large, his coat was thick, and his amber eyes held the same fire as his kin. But deep within him, a different kind of spirit stirred, a quiet current that pulled him away from the familiar chorus of the pack. While the others wrestled for dominance, their growls echoing through the clearings, Kale would slip away. He would find a secluded ridge overlooking the sprawling landscape, his gaze fixed not on the deer trails below, but on the distant, jagged peaks that clawed at the sky. He felt a strange kinship with the solitary eagle that circled high above, a creature that answered to no one but the wind. The pack's life was one of certainty. The hunt, the den, the rigid hierarchy. But Kale's heart yearned for the unknown, for the silence between the mountains, for a path his paws had not yet walked. His father, the stoic Alpha, watched him with a mixture of pride and concern. "You have the blood of leaders, my son," he would say, his voice a low rumble. "Your place is here. The pack is your strength, your shield." Kale would nod, the weight of tradition settling on his shoulders like a heavy winter cloak. He tried to be the wolf he was meant to be. He joined the hunts, his powerful legs carrying him swiftly through the undergrowth. He learned the pack's calls, the signals of danger, the rituals of loyalty. Yet, with every synchronized howl that rose to the moon, his own voice felt lost, a single note in a song that wasn't his. The other young wolves noticed his distance. They mistook his introspection for weakness, his silence for fear. Kale dreams of the sky, but his paws are made for the earth, one would sneer. He has the body of a hunter, but the spirit of a lost lamb. Their taunts were like sharp stones underfoot, a constant reminder of his otherness. And with each barb, a seed of doubt took root in his mind. Perhaps they were right. Perhaps this longing for something more was a flaw, a dangerous fantasy that would lead him to ruin. The fear of being alone, of failing, began to overshadow the call of the mountains. He started to believe their lie, confusing their judgment with his identity. One evening, as the aurora borealis painted the sky in ethereal ribbons of green and violet, Kale sat apart from the pack. The Alpha was recounting a tale of a great hunt, his voice booming with authority. The others listened, their eyes gleaming with admiration. But Kale's gaze was drawn to a single bright star that hung over the most distant peak. It seemed to be calling to him, a silent invitation to a world beyond the safety of the valley. In that moment, the fear that had held him captive felt smaller than the vastness of his desire. The taunts of the other wolves faded into a meaningless echo. He understood that true weakness wasn't in leaving, but in staying and pretending to be someone he was not. With a heart pounding a rhythm of both terror and exhilarating resolve, he made his choice. He rose to his paws, his movement quiet but deliberate. He approached his father, who stopped his story and looked at him, his wise eyes sensing the shift. Kale bowed his head not in submission, but in respect. "I must find my own path, father," he said, his voice steady for the first time. A murmur rippled through the pack. The Alpha held his gaze for a long moment, a flicker of understanding passing between them. He did not command him to stay. He simply dipped his head in a solemn, silent acknowledgement. It was not an approval, but a release. Turning his back on the only home he had ever known, Kale walked into the whispering darkness. The first steps were the hardest. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sounded like a predator. The familiar scent of his pack faded, replaced by the damp, unknown smells of the deep forest. Loneliness was a cold, heavy presence, a phantom wolf trotting at his side. The first night, he huddled alone under an ancient oak, the silence of the woods, a deafening roar compared to the familiar breathing of his sleeping pack. Doubt gnawed at him. What if I'm not enough? What if I'm wrong? What if they were right about me? He trembled, not from the cold, but from the terrifying weight of his freedom. But then he looked up at the moon, the same moon that had watched over his ancestors, and felt a surge of resolve. His journey had just begun. Days bled into weeks. Kale learned the harsh lessons of solitude. He learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the act of hunting for his own food while his stomach ached with it. He learned that strength was not just in the power of a pack, but in the resilience of a single mind to push through exhaustion and pain. He stumbled, he failed, he went hungry. But with each mistake, he grew wiser. He learned to read the subtle shifts in the wind, to find water from the faintest trickle among rocks, and to distinguish the track of a rabbit from that of a fox. His senses, once dulled by the safety of the pack, sharpened into fine instruments. His body, already strong, became lean and powerful, honed by necessity. One day, while tracking a scent near a treacherous mountain pass, a sudden rock slide sent a cascade of stones and earth tumbling down. Kale was trapped, his leg pinned beneath a heavy boulder. Pain shot through him, hot and blinding. Panic seized him. In the pack, a cry of distress would have brought immediate help. Here, his whimpers were swallowed by the indifferent wind. As his energy waned, he saw the mocking faces of the young wolves in his mind, their voices chanting, "He will never survive alone." Despair began to settle over him. But then he remembered the eagle, soaring free. He looked at the unyielding rock, not as an end, but as an obstacle. He stopped fighting against it and began to think. He twisted his body, using the leverage of the earth, pushing with a strength born of pure will. With a final, agonizing effort, he pulled his leg free. Wounded but alive, he limped to a sheltered cave. As he nursed his injury, he understood the true meaning of strength. It was not the collective might of the pack, but the unyielding spirit within. It was the ability to face the abyss alone and choose to climb. In that cave, stripped of everything, Kale found his core. He was not a lost lamb. He was not a flawed wolf. He was a survivor. He was a pioneer. He was himself. His spirit, once shrunken by doubt, now expanded to fill the vast, empty spaces around him. When his leg healed, he climbed to the highest peak, the very one that had called to him for so long. The world unfolded beneath him, a breathtaking tapestry of forests, rivers, and distant valleys. He was no longer looking up at the eagle. He was standing at its level. He saw his old valley, a small patch of green in a world of infinite possibilities. A howl built in his chest, not a call for his pack, but a declaration of his own existence. It was a sound of freedom, of hardship overcome, of a destiny forged with his own paws. It echoed through the mountains, a powerful, solitary note that was entirely his. The courage of a wolf, he realized, was not in following the pack, but in having the bravery to listen to the howl within his own soul. This inspiring story follows a young wolf who doubts himself until he discovers the true meaning of courage, strength, and freedom. Kale's journey teaches us that true belonging comes not from fitting in, but from embracing the path that is uniquely ours, even if we must walk it alone. His transformation is a testament to the power of self-belief and the resilience of the spirit when faced with the unknown. Filled with life lessons about bravery, self-confidence, and finding your own path, this story will inspire you to overcome fear and forge your own way with the determination of a wolf. If you've ever felt lost or uncertain about your path, let this story remind you, the courage of a wolf lies within you. Sometimes the bravest act is not to run with the pack, but to answer the call of the mountains and discover the strength you never knew you had. Your destiny is not written by the expectations of others, but by the steps you dare to take on your own. Thanks for watching. If this story touched you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that will help you build your best life. Remember, you are much more powerful than you think. Start building your best self. Until next time.